Most of you already know where am I from, but if you don't, I'm from Kazakhstan, a developing country, and here's the thing. Even though Kazakhstan isn't officially considered a third world country, when it comes to buying phones that are made in developed countries like an iPhone, it honestly feels like one. Buying tech is basically split into two very different realities. In Western countries where these phones are produced, you usually don't face major obstacles. But in countries where they aren't produced, you deal with a completely different situation. From prices compared to average salaries to government restrictions and rules. And trust me, the problem is much bigger than it looks on the surface. So today, I want to show you the different reality of buying a phone in third world countries. Let's get started. You probably know what MSRP is. If you don't know, MSRP stands for Manufacturer's Suggested Retail Price. It's the price that CEOs of Apple or other phone companies tell you when they show you the new version of phone. But the fact is, in most countries outside the West, the MSRP price is like a miracle because you won't see iPhones sold at MSRP in my country, for example. Look at the iPhone 17's price in my country's reseller market. That costs around $1,000. Probably okay, right? But if we look at the MSRP price of the same model, it's around $800, and that price is the same in the Apple Store too. As you can see, the price difference is huge, right? Already $200. And I haven't even mentioned the pricier models, such as iPhone 17 Pro Max, for example. It'll be much more expensive. So the price difference will be as huge as the iPhone's price. But why? And here's the explanation for that. You see, as a businessman that sells iPhone, for example, you have to buy an iPhone from other country and then go to your country, cross the borderline, and then you have to pay taxes. This taxes depends on your country law. And of course, after paid taxes, you decide to calculate those taxes and add that on top of the iPhone you're gonna sell. That's already some kind of price on top of the MSRP. Next thing you're gonna do is, of course, calculate the currency difference. Your country's currency might be weaker than US dollars, right? At this point, of course, you have different inflation, different devaluation. That's why iPhone price will be different. And it'll be more expensive depending on the inflation and devaluation. And the third factor is reseller margin. As a businessman, you did service by shipping that phone to your country. That's why you decide to add your margin on top. But the fact is, it's the only factor that you can control. So you're gonna multiply all three factors and then decide to set a new price. That's how a new price is formed. Which is why the difference between MSRP and your country's price is noticeable. But what if I tell you that this is not the only factor? Because also there is a factor that called salary difference. You see, in developed countries that are located in the west part, or maybe in Asia like Japan or Korea, people get paid more than the other countries. As an example, I decided to compare two different countries, and to be clear, as a source of information, I decided to use this site called ParityDeals.com. And as a source country, I took capital of the Nepal, which is called Kathmandu. Sorry if I pronounced wrong. And then targeted city is Atlanta, which is one of the cities of United States. Average salary in Nepal's capital is $221 a month. And in the city of United States, it's $5,500. As you probably see here, the difference is huge. And if we consider overall cost of living, people in Nepal can't even afford that, not to mention buying an iPhone. While people in US, specifically in Atlanta, it's the quarter of their salary. That means they can not only buy one iPhone 17, but also 3 of them. While in Nepal, you'll probably never buy an iPhone, even if you save up. And it's just not only Nepal, there are dozens of countries that includes in this list. This website, I think, makes a kind of mistake. So if we consider that even Nepal's average salary is $500, that's still hard to buy an iPhone for 1 month of salary. But alright, let's say you're not lucky and born in countries that are not developed. At this point, imagine that you earned money or save up money or I don't know, took a debt from the bank. In this case, you don't just throw money to buy an iPhone. You think a lot before buying. That'll be compared to buying a car in developed countries. Between the phases of buying and thinking, you watch 30 reviews and ask yourself, do I really need Pro or Pro Max, or should I buy an ordinary version? Should I buy a 1TB version or 512GB? Should I even subscribe for iCloud and all that? And at the end, you hope that this phone will last at least 4 years for you. Because if that won't and breaks for a short time, you'll most likely have no money to buy a new one. But that happens, of course. Some people might buy a phone and then end up breaking that phone for a short time. In this case, you have only 3 options. First option is send it for repair, because repairment price is cheaper than the iPhone itself. And the second option is buy a new phone on a bank credit again. At this point, you'll be on a lot of debt, because imagine you haven't even finished your first debt and then you're gonna buy another one. And the third option is buying with a cash, which is pretty rare unless you save money on your emergency savings. But that option only available for rich people in the third and second world countries, or developing even countries like mine. And you know that you can't do anything without phone. You'll definitely do one of these 3 things. Today, majority of people can't live without their phones. Alright, let's say you bought a phone and then you decide to unbox and you didn't like something. And just imagine, you're a teenager living in that country and that phone was purchased by your parents. At this point, one thing is not accepted there. You can't just complain about that phone, not even criticize it, unless you're a tech YouTuber like me. Because complaining is my job. I mean, I have to criticize the phones to make it better. But for an ordinary person, where do you complain even? To your parents? You're probably not gonna do that. If you do that, your parents are gonna send you to Dagestan for 2-3 years. And the main excuse for that is, how dare are you? Some people don't even have that phone, and you're sitting here complaining about it. You're such a spoiled kid. That's true though. You need to accept that phone with its limits and with its downsides. Nobody cares. Personally, I realized I use my iPhone 15 mostly to scroll TikTok, which is honestly ridiculous for a phone that expensive. And when I checked my screen time, yeah, that's time I should be writing scripts instead of doom scrolling. So tomorrow morning, script writing, 2 hours, that's it. After that, I'm watching a movie, non-negotiable. Alright, let me actually block this in real quick. By the way, do you know what app this is? This is Akiflow, and I've been using it to turn random tasks into an actual schedule, which is why they're sponsoring today's video. So the reason I like this, everything I need to do lands in one place. Emails, random ideas, tasks. Instead of living in 5 different apps, they just show up here in the inbox. And then I just drag them into my calendar like this. That's time blocking, and it sounds simple, but it completely changes how your day feels. If it's not scheduled, it doesn't exist. What's cool is Akiflow connects to stuff I already use. Things like Gmail, Notion, reminders, so tasks come in automatically. And when my day starts looking messy, it actually helps me recognize priorities so I'm not sitting there wondering what to do next. The biggest thing isn't that I magically work more, it's that my day feels intentional. Instead of reacting to notifications all day, I already decided what happens next. If your schedule feels chaotic like mine used to, you should try this. There's a link below to test Akiflow properly, and once you start planning days like this, going back feels impossible. Alright, as you probably know, Apple's official store is Apple Store. And what if I say that we don't have an Apple Store in my country? And tons of countries don't have that either. And where do we buy iPhone, you might ask? If you didn't skip the video, as I said earlier, we buy an iPhone from the reseller stores. For people who got used to that, it's okay, and it's normal to buy an iPhone from those tech stores. But if you look at it objectively, that's obviously a big problem. Because you see, they have their own wild margins, since they have to consider import taxes, big margins, and the level of currency. And most official tech markets neglect with warranty compared to official Apple. You see, when they buy an Apple from the developed countries already, they have a warranty from Apple, but when they cross the border of another country where there is no Apple store, the warranty from Apple will be reset automatically. And they have to create their own warranty just because they have to. You can't just violate customers' rights. But those reseller markets are kinda sneaky, and some people don't really believe them. And that's common to buy an iPhone from the different country manually. I mean, you go to another country and then buy an iPhone without someone's help. You'll pay less, of course, but you'll have to pay for a flight ticket and for traveling. That's how the absence of Apple Store works. But recently, to be honest, when I was walking around the mall, I've noticed one kind of strange thing. I saw a market that looks like an Apple Store, and that market looks so like an Apple Store that I thought, wait, did Apple open in Kazakhstan? But when I saw the store's name, I immediately frustrated. Because the name is not an Apple Store, but iSpace, which is kinda strange. I immediately thought it's just a copy. Apple Store from Temu, you know? And it's strange that this is not a popular, because when I researched their websites, I've noticed that their website is identical with Apple Store. They have their own refurbished store, they have their own like refounded products, some programs for students and all that. But even though the tech stores is kinda the only way to buy an iPhone in my country, there's a problem that I'm gonna tell you the next. I don't know about you, but in most countries there is a thing called IMEI verification. Though I've heard this also exists in the UK, Europe, Turkey, India, etc. Which is kinda passport of the phone. If every person has a passport, so do phones. It's the system that prevents from selling the stolen phones and all those illegal stuff. But to make that work, you have to go to governmental website and then type your IMEI on that and then request IMEI verification. Every phone that crosses the borderline or designed in that country should have verified IMEI. Because if somebody steals your phone, you just report to police and say that you have that IMEI code, and they can easily find that phone just by tracking the IMEI code. Sounds perfect and of course useful for people. But in my country and in most developing and second, third world countries, I guess, this problem exists. And one of them is the system is kinda not smooth. In most cases, websites are not working all the time, application rejected without any reason, even though the phone is legitimate. And if you reject it, phone obviously can get blocked. As the system introduced recently in my country, this problem started appearing over and over with people. It's not people's fault, it's fault of the government and then tech stores. Because if the tech store didn't verify the specific phone, of course that phone will get blocked when people get that. And it's government's fault since the website can be not smooth and pretty annoying. And that causes also scams from the secondhand market. When people buy from the used market, they can face with the not clean IMEI, or some people might wrongly accuse that the phone is stolen, even though the buyer bought that phone legally without any theft. And the next problem might appear when the phone's motherboard is changed. Because when you change the motherboard in repairment, IMEI code kinda might get removed or get flagged as tempered. But that's the problem of the specific country that has this verification of IMEI. Because the next problem exists literally on every country that are considered not developed. You see, if you buy a phone from the developed country, you'll get Apple's official warranty for 1 year. And there's a thing called Apple Care starting from the 16th version, if I'm not mistaken, which is subscription for an external warranty. And by that Apple Care, you can fix your phone if you break that phone with your own mistake, let's say. While in official warranty, you have right to repair that phone if that phone has a defect from the manufacturer. That actually gives you kinda more rights when you use your phone. Now the problem is, in the countries that are located outside the West, we don't have neither a 1-year warranty nor Apple Care. If a phone breaks outside the West where there is no Apple Store, Apple Corporation can't help with that, even in case you defined a manufacturer defect. If something really happens, we rely on a tech store guarantee, which is also 1 year, but here's the problem. Tech store warranty is like an illusion of the warranty, I would say. They will give that warranty just because they have to. Without a warranty, nobody's gonna buy your product. That's obvious. But when it comes to responsibility, they will escape from that as much as they can. Most likely, they will just find a hole in the law and somehow will put all the blames on you. Like, it's not our problem, you did it on your own. So at the end of the day, you're not gonna fight and then live with that broken phone. That happens, I would say, pretty often. Just most people don't really publicly say that. And once you find out that you're hopeless, you decide to go an official repair service and realize that one part of the phone and the shipment of that part will cost like a new phone. You see, details of the Apple's devices are extremely expensive, or sometimes not even available on some countries. So you think it's better to buy a new phone, but from another reseller store, because your bad review about the reseller store not gonna help. Unless you record one video on TikTok, and if that video blows up, then that might help. But most likely the store is gonna just apologize for that mistake and then give you a new phone probably, and get away from that problem. That's it. But of course, not every company does that. But I'm saying the truth that some people faced. That's why the only solution is to be careful with your iPhone. So as you can see, being an Apple user in a developing or lower income country can be a real challenge. The biggest issue is that the average salary simply doesn't match with the price of the phone. Most people either save for a long time or end up taking bank debt, almost like buying a new car. That means every purchase feels risky and you think about it over and over. Because wrong decision can cost you not just money, but time and emotional stress. And if your phone breaks, repairs can be so expensive that buying a new phone sometimes feels like the only solution. This video isn't meant to be a complaint, it's about showing the reality that most people don't know. And reality isn't always pretty. I honestly hope this gives some perspective on the situation. I'm not saying people will suddenly stop buying iPhones, because you see, in my country, buying an iPhone is common. In everybody's hands, that's damn iPhone. Even in my case, I have an iPhone, you know? But obvious fact is, things can't change overnight. But at least this video can help people understand what they are getting into. And probably will be kind of knowledge for people who are living in developed country. And some people might disagree with me, and that's okay. You could type that on the comment. If you liked the video, thanks for watching and take care.